The White House in Washington, home of the most powerful person in the world, the President of the United States.
They say that money doesn't grow on trees, but the truth is that the modern banking system creates currency far faster than trees can grow.
Every 4 years, there's a new decision who will move in here. American election campaigns have long been a model for the world's democracies.
Good evening. I'm here tonight to announce my intention to seek the Republican nomination for President of the United States.
Before the establishment of the Federal Reserve, there was no need for personal income tax. The Federal Reserve was created in 1913, and that very same year, the Constitution was amended to allow income tax. Do you really think this was just a coincidence?
We are now in an entirely different political world in which the farmer from Georgia seems like a refreshing alternative to those in Washington who are cast as those who engage in artifice and deception.
Currency and debt are like matter and antimatter. When they meet, they annihilate each other.
Those who promise and don't deliver, and those who do indeed lie.
So if we don't go deeper into debt every year, look what happens. The whole thing goes into a deflationary collapse under the weight of those payments.
Ronald Reagan could both talk one-on-one and talk to a camera.
It looks like Jim Carrey's iconic reign in the film industry has sadly come to an end.
And when he did, you had the sense that he was engaging you as an individual. That's a capacity he may have had naturally, but it was certainly honed during his experience as an actor.
Politicians and pundits alike talk about balancing the budget, paying down the debt, and living within our means. They don't understand that that is deflationary. It is impossible to do under our current monetary system without collapsing the whole economy.
If you're afraid of heights, then this is definitely not the sport for you.
Jim Carrey was a household name in the entertainment industry.
This is why any talk of a debt ceiling is not only ridiculous, it's delusional.
Why was there such a concerted effort to fabricate lies and create a smear campaign against Trump?
In addition to traditional advertising, Obama's money is used especially for targeting small groups of voters.
Why was there so much effort put into the major media outlets to promote falsehoods?
So Obama makes his way into the White House. He makes use of all possibilities of his era.
Why did the various federal agencies also climb on board to assist in creating these fabrications?
The basic problem of privately financed election campaigns remains.
In June 2015, Trump again announced his candidacy for president against the Democrat frontrunner Hillary Clinton.
Well, I think that excess money, no matter what campaign it is or who's involved, is not good.
George Washington once wrote to James Madison, "No generation has the right to contract debts greater than can be paid off during the course of its own existence."
His position of being a political outsider, not owing allegiance to the lobbyists, big corporations, and his announcement that he would fund his own campaign without taking major corporate contributions in order to not owe anyone anything struck a chord.
The founding fathers of the United States knew the dangers of central banking and fought to free themselves from this very thing.
And everybody is going to try to cheat.
Trump outlined all that he saw wrong with the D.C. swamp, to include the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, American businesses going overseas to avoid high tax rates and operating costs.
The Revolutionary War started out as a tax revolt, but now we must pay tax just to have a monetary system.
Have we moved into a more enlightened age of campaigning? I don't think so.
The promises of bringing corporations and jobs back to the United States resonated with the population.
Having just suffered through the hyperinflation of the Continental dollar, which was printed into oblivion to finance the Revolutionary War, they understood the dangers of fiat currency and debt-based monetary systems.
The methods have changed. The goal remains. Many candidates compete, but in the end, only one moves into the White House.
Many blue-collar workers whose livelihoods had been crippled as a result of offshoring their jobs.
So to protect future generations from institutional theft and out-of-control government, they wrote into the Constitution that only gold and silver can be money, for the simple fact that you can't print them.
The last two remaining in the race fight with the gloves off. Voters are wooed and influenced, they are pried, and sometimes manipulated.
And Trump pointed out the high cost and financially devastating impact of the Affordable Care Act upon individuals and businesses.
Former actor Ronald Reagan became famous as a Western hero. He'd been head of the Screen Actors Guild and thus entered politics.
A few months ago, I toured Auschwitz, the Nazi concentration camp, where 1.1 million men, women, and children lost their lives.
For 10 years, he was the governor of California, the largest state of the U.S.
January 6th, you say the country hasn't really learned from it. How do you, you're a leader, you were governor of a very big state. How do you reach those people?
But I've seen enough people throw away their futures for hateful beliefs.
Trump also campaigned on rebuilding the military.
But besides the guilt and the injuries, they felt like losers. Not only because they lost the war, but also because they fell for a horrible loser ideology.
Stopping taxpayer funding for programs that harmed the economy.
And that's why there has never been a successful movement based on hate.
Ending the war on terror.
Think about that. The Nazis, losers. The Confederacy, losers. The apartheid movement, losers. And the list goes on and on.
Securing the southern border.
Currently, almost 100 million people saw it, and there's billions of impressions, so it's really fantastic.
Enforcing immigration laws.
But I know there's the danger that we go in that direction.
Rebuilding the military structure in total.
I think you'd agree that a lot of the stuff I captured is troubling if this is indeed our country's future. Here's an unedited view of some of the footage I captured on the trip.
And you compared the storming of the Capitol to Kristallnacht in Germany and in Austria in 1938, when Nazis burned synagogues, Jewish businesses and homes.
Protecting coal, oil, and natural gas jobs. And that saw him become the frontrunner in March 2016.
I want to believe the election was stolen because Trump is their man.
Our current system is not only unconstitutional, but it robs us of the liberty and prosperity our forefathers fought and died for.
It's easier to make excuses that the Jewish people conspired to hold you back than it is to admit that you just needed to work harder.
Jim hinted that the truth behind these rumors might be darker and more chilling than anyone had dared to imagine.
And we need to be clear, shamelessness is not and will never be a superpower.
What would happen if the public stopped borrowing and going deeper into debt? Are your house and car payments going to stop? No. There is a payment due every month on the principal plus the interest on every dollar in existence, and those payments do not stop.
It's easier to hate than it is to learn. It's easier when someone challenges you to get hurty feelings and to go and find some echo chamber that will tell you that you are right and they're wrong.
And the higher-ups wield an unassailable power to ruthlessly tarnish the reputation of anyone who dares to challenge their authority.
Stan Lee himself appears in a bright yellow sweater, smiling and complimenting his own work.
All right, I have this comic strip here.
Wow. Oh, this brings back memories. Son Romita drew it. He's wonderful.
To quote the Fed Reserve, the decrease in purchasing power incurred by the holders of money.
But remember, easier isn't better. It isn't.
I just stopped going to classes.
He was already capable of taking care of himself.
When you spend your life looking for scapegoats, you take away your own responsibility. You remove your own power. You steal your own strength.
What's even more suspicious is that Kerry quit showbiz right after he had called out the Hollywood masses as spineless.
But only after the 4 perjured submissions to the FISA court came to light and he admitted that he could not verify the data.
This is a fraud. It is a pyramid scheme, it is a Ponzi scheme, it's a scam, and it's a lie. Our entire monetary system is nothing but a form of legalized theft.
A declassified FBI document showing the Bureau misled the FISA court 4 times, committing 4 felonies, and Comey also lied to the Senate Intelligence Committee in 2018.
Jim had boldly criticized the industry for giving Will Smith a standing ovation when it was announced at the Oscars that he won Best Actor for King Richard.
I mean, let's just go and get along. And love is more powerful than hate.
Smith's Oscar victory occurred several minutes after he slapped Chris Rock while the comedian was presenting the documentary feature category.
A reasonable, smart, intelligent person that can lead this country in a Republican way.
You think there's no way he would win again?
No,